Welcome to NOCLIP, the podcast that's like a book club for people who don't think that books reward them enough for being good at them. I'm Chad Rutherman.
I'm Andy Kinnick.
And I'm JJ Artemis.
And today, we're going to be talking about Umamusume Pretty Derby, a game that was developed and published by Cygames and was released in 2021 in Japan and 2025 worldwide on iOS, Android, and Windows.
But first, you can give us a like or rating or subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated.
Okay, so some of you may have noticed a slight difference in our intro there. JJ is here to talk about this game. Kind of.
Don't say that.
Yeah, well,
that's incorrect.
Yeah, he's here to do something, that's for sure.
He
is, in a way, the impetus for doing this as an episode,
I guess.
Yeah, but this is a weird game for us for a number of reasons. One, because I don't think any of us had any actual interest in playing the game prior to doing it.
Sure didn't.
Two, it is a gacha game, which is a thing that we've never talked about before, and it's like a sports management game. So almost every form of genre that we would normally talk about, this kind of just isn't that. But it is explosively popular right now, and very funny on a conceptual level. Does anyone disagree with that? Because the premise of this episode goes down a lot if you don't think it's funny.
Andy?
I don't think it's that funny.
Why not?
Because I feel like there's already so many, like, hentai games or like games about collecting panties or like much weirder stuff. So when I booted it up, I was like, I hope this isn't like a weird like horses have big butts, so like let's put giant asses on anime girls thing. And then when it wasn't that, I was like, oh man, this doesn't even seem that weird.
So you admit that you were bringing the expectations of horror, totally realistic expectations of horror and weirdness, but you definitely like brought that in with you, I think. I mean, this game just seems to mostly be, I don't know, very glossy. It's very... God, how do you even describe what... I feel so old every time I'm around this.
Yeah, so there's like another... I think, talk about this more as part of a different subject. But I think when you say glossy, I think that there's a surprising amount of care put into the visual presentation of this game in ways that you wouldn't expect it to be. Because the gameplay is choose a thing and a number goes up. And you like manage meters and you make decisions about where to do things or whatever. But all of the stuff that happens narratively within the game takes place in these like sort of visual novel-esque. That's like where I'm familiar with this style of like presentation, I suppose. Mm-hmm. Where it'll be people talking to each other and text on screen. But it's all like weirdly animated. Like it feels like they put in a lot of effort to make everything look pretty polished for something that normally would be like static images on the screen.
They're reusing a lot of diverse but very good animations because
yes,
the like real activity is supposed to happen in your head. Like the appeal, I'm not going to try and describe the whole appeal of the game, but I will cop to the fact that like a lot of the narrative parts of this are extremely Fire Emblem coded, which is part of how it went on my radar, which should not be an invitation to you assuming I'm going to defend this game in like any way. Firmly, I'm not going to do that. My hatred of gachas is alive and well. But I think the overwhelming success of this is something that we have to strive to understand, which is part of what Chad was alluding to earlier. I forget the context in which we had this conversation, but I did specifically want to like review a gacha with both of you as like a sort of autopsy-esque exercise.
I think that's fair. I will tell you the context of the conversation that we had, and it was I sent you a Discord message at like 1 p.m. that just said, "So we getting into the horse game?" And then your response was just, "God, no."
But there was the history goes earlier than that, because you played, what's the one that you played? You did play one.
Right. So if we are going to break this down as far as like gacha games go,
Yep.
I play, in my eyes, 2 gacha games currently, which are Wuthering Waves, which is a gacha game 100%.
Yes.
And then Pokemon TCG Pocket, which I view as a gacha game.
That's fair. That's fair.
Now that I have played Wuthering Waves, I see the business. I understand the business model more so, and it is the thing that I do want to talk about, because gacha games are a weird genre that I think is missing some potential in the way that it exists. But yeah, this was not my first gacha. And it was one that it's just like to talk about it as like it stands within the genre. This feels like a really ass gacha, and I don't know. I do not understand the popularity. I thought that I wouldn't understand the appeal, but after playing the game, I feel like I can sort of parse out what it is that people like about it.
Yeah.
I do not understand how it became as popular as it is. Except that I've watched enough Moon Channel to know that in Japan, gacha games people are a lot more willing to play ball with gacha than in other places, from my understanding.
Correct. Happy for the Moon Channel shout out as well. Before we get further afield from it, though, I find the whole discourse of like, is this your first gacha? Very informative about how like weird and standoffish it is relative to other games culture in the first place. And second, Andy, do you have any other like gacha related habits you're willing to cop to on the internet?
Gacha games are like the opposite of something I would ever personally engage with as a person.
Yep.
But I did play Kingdom Hearts Union Cross in college, which is a gacha game. I did not engage with any of the gacha mechanics and then stopped playing because it is, in fact, a play-to-win type of game. But then logged back on like a year and a half later, and there were so many events that I got so much in-game currency that I was able to buy all the best stuff and then just be able to coast through the rest of the game. So, be an early adopter, I guess, is the lesson.
I mean, that is genuinely, if you do want to like excel at a gacha game, starting to play it on day one is the way to do it, because you will get so much free garbage from the game before going
and
on.
Then I have also played Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which has like a gacha element to it.
Of course it does. I didn't even know that.
Yes.
I was ignorant of...
This is actually the thing that I wanted to bring up, because I feel like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, a game that I have many problems with. One of the problems I have with that game is not the gacha system. I think that the gacha system is actually fantastic, and I wish that we had more of that in games that weren't tied to the monetization system. Like, we haven't talked for 1 second about Umamusume at all during this conversation, but there is like the thing about gacha that I think is cool is an extremely long or like resource heavy gated system of being given random characters to play, because that is cool. That forces you, especially in a game like Umamusume, which is also kind of a roguelike, it forces you to adapt to things that you don't have a ton of control over. And I love that as a concept. And then, like, as you play more and more, you'll have more options available to you, and you can actually sort of make more choices. But I do think that the monetization is, while it is the lifeblood of the genre, it's the reason these games get made, it is also the thing that makes them less appealing, I think, to a lot of people.
There's certainly a lot of fear, like, around it. Not just, like, there's the first order stigma of, like, the loot boxy, like, monetary exploitation conversation that a lot of us grew up through, right? Like when I'm sure both of you have some memory of, like, horse armor discourse when that first struck. Our
I mean, it's still the funniest joke about DLC ever made.
Fair. Hit it in one. Yeah, but there's also the, like, secondary, like, oh, okay, like, it, not only do they have that kind of scheme, they tend to market to creeps. And, like Andy, I was absolutely prepared for it to be, like, several orders of magnitude worse than it is, and had to, like, mea culpa on that. Thankfully, I can still keep my kind of pointless honor by expressing how much I also don't vibe with the, like, this whole aesthetic thing. Like Moe in general is just, like, not something that ever really touches my soul. And after the amount of time I have devoted to that, I can now be pretty certain of that assumed fact about myself.
I am requesting a definition.
Yes, Chad.
What does moe mean?
Oh, as for the number of times that I have forcibly subjected you both to the melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, I am surprised that I have to give this definition. Moe is like a specific subgenre of cute. It's like Special Week. Do you know who Special Week is of all of the, like,
I'm very
3
familiar
stars?
with who Special Week is. Yeah.
Good, as you should be. Like epitome of moe, right? Like vaguely teen coded, but like totally innocent in all ways, full of, like, love overflowing from her heart.
Okay.
Like, beautiful, but, like, not necessarily in a sexual way, just, like, beautiful in the old Shakespearean sense, you know, like that sort of thing.
Sure. Can I offer? This isn't necessarily a counter to that to your description, because I think it is likely accurate. The subtext of this game, to me, says that they want you to want to fuck the horses.
Chad, you're correct.
Okay, good. I'm glad I'm not insane.
Maybe they don't want you to fuck the horses, but that's absolutely why the game's so popular.
I disagree with this.
I feel okay. I'm going to lay out my take on this, and you can feel free to disagree. Okay. But I feel like dating sims are really popular. Like, I feel like there's, like, with people our age and older, a big stigma into, like, being attracted to, like, animated characters or fictional characters, etc., and so forth. And I think whenever something like this becomes really, like, popular at all, people really flock to it as, like, an outlet for that, because I feel like lots of people are. And I feel like, yeah, like, especially within, like anime fandoms, like, waifus are a huge thing. Like, I feel like a vast majority of the appeal of this game is the cute anime girls. And then there's, like, also, like, a decently designed game behind that to, like, latch onto. And that's why it explodes. But I think the wanting to date the cute anime horses is what gets most people in the door.
And just to add on to that before you respond, my reasoning for it is that you basically go on dates with every horse, despite the, like, very weird power imbalance that strikes. You're always like, well, we'll just go out to dinner or to go get snacks, or I'll wait in a line for 6 hours to get you some carrot cake. Like, I don't know. It just feels like it's very dating coded, even though it is, like, a student-teacher relationship.
Okay. All right.
Which is a very popular fantasy in and of itself.
Which I didn't know that. I'm kind of glad I didn't know that.
Oh, lots of people have a hot for teacher fantasy.
Don't you listen to Van Halen?
No, I do not, in fact. I knew as soon as I came on here to do this that I would like inevitably be in the position of the reluctant defender of this game relative to the other two of you.
I think it's fine, like that if people want to do that, but I feel like let's call a spade a spade.
Look,
like
I'm going to call a spade a spade.
If you want to
here.
date the horses, then I think that's fine.
There is a darker truth about why these games are popular that is like considerably more depressing than like the base horniness indicator that you just outlined. That I will be happy to run through here. So, my fun secret that I don't think you know, Andy, is that I have actually been familiar with this game for over 2 years. Before it was translated into English, lots of my like other D&D friends who I cheat on you guys with have got like 5 or 6 of them got like super into this game. And I, of course, as this like distant observer, was like not caring about that at all. Like imagine if you had a friend who was into this game, but none of the text was in English, and like what that would imply about lots of other relationships. So like, I have not only tracked like other approximately normal people getting sucked into the vortex and like understood their motivations, but like I've seen the first 4 episodes of season 1 of the anime and all of season 2 of the anime, because I made a bet that I lost and was subjected to such, though I still bailed on season 1, obviously. But here is my understanding of like where the vortex lies and like why someone would get into this for non-horny reasons.
Because they have a gambling addiction?
No.
Because they have a real life gambling addiction and are big fans of Japanese horse racing.
Yeah, I was saying, it does tie into gambling, ties into horse racing even.
Yes, it does.
Kind of a match made in heaven.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah.
So like layer 1 of the vortex that is Umamusume is like being irony pilled about it. It's like hearing the joke about like we took real horses and made them women, and they all have the stupid names of the real horses, and you can go on YouTube to look up videos of the horses. Like that is funny enough to some like very irony-pilled people that they'll like download the game on that level alone just to like understand it. And then when they're like actually playing through the like roguelike Darkest Dungeon-esque elements where like, you can get like randomly screwed over by the machine. The appeal is not necessarily dating the women. The game is clearly open to that interpretation and does not dissuade you from having it. But like you can vibe with wanting the women to like succeed emotionally. Like being very literally the like support figure person and like being hyper invested in their success. It's like very close, right? Like lots of weird fetishes kind of bleed between the like I want to date them and I am her uncle and or sports team person, but like there are even if you get in
taboo, yeah.
No. Well, again, you're making the sex of this is not what I'm trying to focus on.
I mean, but like that's part of like what's I think, regardless of whether you lean to the sexual side or not. Like I think that's part of what is appealing about that type of relationship to some people, anyway. Is that like there's something that feels a little bit off about it in the back of your head.
You are okay. Gotta regroup. So like the reason why that is a depressing relationship to have is that for lots of people who are like suitably like shunned or like internet pilled in their lives, right? They are probably very much not used to having a person in their life who relies upon them, right? Like there are people who like very sincerely crave the idea of like just providing for a person who is extremely appreciative of what you are giving them. And this game is like actual crack cocaine for those like intimacy neglected human beings. Like people who like don't have families are like all fucking over this game. And I can say that from experience. And I know that's like very sad, but like that I think is the
Yeah.
deeper truth and why it hit a wider marketplace than like the Zenless Zone Zero jiggle physics people.
I do think that part of the I think that is true in a certain, like within a certain subset. I think that this game is popular far beyond that either of these explanations provide for. Like either the people who are truly like not, I mean, I imagine that it will fall off, but like faster than other like very fad type games. But the people who are starved for intimacy and the people who want to fuck horses, I think is probably like 10 to 15% of the game's player base.
Agreed.
And it's like this huge like phenomenon outside of it. But I think I largely agree with that concept, though. I think that is the thing that is bad about that, and could be argued about a lot of other media, is that this is like a psychological issue that some people have, that this game provides relief for, debatably, and also monetizes it, which is kind of what is screwy.
Monetizes it on a limited basis. Like I really like sat down and like thought about this after I had played the game for a while, about like why this feels so much ickier to me than like, I don't, any of the dating sims on the PS1, right? Or like anything on Steam that we're very familiar with. And it really is the time commitment angle to me. It's the idea that like what this game is asking from you is some combination of like $20 every couple of months if you're like an average human being, and also like an hour of every day of your life for the indeterminate future. Like it's one thing to like make a narrative experience that is equally designed to like ride the line between I want to fuck the women and like I want to be emotionally supportive to the women, right? But if that has like a defined end date, right? Like if that only goes so far, then it ceases to be a vampire to me and instead becomes like a bespoke experience, like more like a Band-Aid than like a dialysis machine. And I really do think that this is like a dialysis machine for loneliness that like does not solve the underlying problem in any way.
Yeah. I actually have... So I have something to say about that, and I think it's a good segue into my big secret of the episode.
Hell yeah.
Which is, I am not sure what level of narrative attachment people are having to these characters. Because did you read any dialogue in this game at all?
I knew for a fact you wouldn't read one fucking thing. The second I walked in here...
I read 3 screens, and then I said, oh boy, there's a lot of this, and there's a conveniently placed skip button at the bottom. Did you read, like, genuine question, did you read the dialogue?
Yeah, I read all the dialogue.
I read about half the dialogue.
Okay,
because the narrative content is the only part of the game I found even a little enjoyable.
Speak more on that. I want to understand what.
Whoa, hold on, real quick, because this is why I find this so difficult to believe.
Okay.
Because you said that this game asks an hour of your time a day.
Yeah.
That is only true if you are not reading any dialogue.
True.
Because I recorded a full run without quick mode on and not skipping any dialogue. Yep. I failed after the 4th race, and the recording is 2 hours long, and it will go up on YouTube alongside this episode.
Hell yeah! Who'd you run with? Who was your...
It was Special Week, which is why I'm glad that you brought it up.
Let's go.
My description in the video is I chose Special Week because from what I understand about this franchise, she is kind of like the Mario of this game.
I think this is where we're reaching the limits of my knowledge as well. Like, every season of the anime follows a different one of them as the main character, and like the movie is unaffiliated with the others. I think I've never seen the movie. There's a lot. There's so much, guys. There's a lot.
Has there been a My Little Pony crossover?
It does seem like a missed opportunity.
I disagree. That is a very dude-coded statement. I feel like that would be insulting to the women in our audience.
That My Little Pony and the two most popular media franchises about horses, fucking citation, I don't know. That's completely made up.
The horses are real, Chad. These are real horses, and like two of them are alive.
Has there ever been a Seabiscuit crossover?
Now that I would want very badly. That one should actually happen.
Anyway, yeah, so you guys did read the dialogue, which is insane to me because it means that and a single run took you at minimum like 3 hours to complete.
Yeah, no, it was a multi-day affair.
I didn't finish one.
Yeah, I'd say it quit.
I got halfway through a career and I played the game for like 6 hours.
Gotcha.
I played through the runs like so slow that I didn't know what the orange meter did for like weeks. I didn't understand its purpose.
You mean like the meter that gauges your friendship with your support cards?
No, the TP meter. I know there are like 700,000 meters, but the one that's like very important at the top of the screen when you log in, beside the blue RP meter. Yeah,
well, that's the other. Yeah, because we talked earlier, I play Wuthering Waves, which is another gacha game. It's in like the Genshin. It's not made by fucking goddamn it Hoyo ? I think is the name of that company that makes Genshin and ZZZ.
Yeah.
But it's like but it is like Genshin styled. It is a Breath of the Wild clone game that's like an action RPG. And I can play that game for about 10 minutes a day and complete everything that it's asking me to do. And the fact that they give you 100 stamina in this game to play campaigns that take over 45 minutes a piece, unless you are, I guess, very good and just guess everything right. Or I guess just have like lots of good stats and shit, is insane. The time commitment to this game is off the fucking charts. I have no idea how anybody commits to this as like their main thing.
Well, okay, you're saying that under the assumption that like committing to the game means emptying the orange meter every day, which I do not think is true. Like,
well, it should be, hypothetically. Why? That's the allowed amount, because that's how the games should hypothetically work. You want to exhaust like your daily allowance of stuff in order to get the most benefit out of it, and then put the game down until you can do it again the following day.
That's like the optimizer bug that has like burrowed its way into your skull. Speaking 100%, like that is
okay. So I think this is the crossover point, right? Because this is if you aren't doing that, if you are not optimizing this game, I don't see the appeal long term. Like, really? I just don't get it. Like, what are you getting out of this game running the same horse through the same story with the same cards every day for upwards of 2 to 3 hours, I suppose?
Well, it sounds like someone was a cheap ass who didn't spend any money to acquire new horses or new cars.
I can almost guarantee you that I spent more money on this game than either of you, because I assume that you both spent $0 and I spent $7.
Incorrect. I spent $57 on this game.
Damn.
Okay, yeah.
Literally,
this goes into another point that I have.
Because I know you both well enough that I assumed that you were going to make some approximation of that joke. This is me like double reversioing your previous Chad statement. And I was like, you know what would be really funny? If I just like attempted to approximate the whale experience on the podcast. So like the moment the game loaded for me, I went to the shop and spent $50. Like that instant. Was the first thing I did before I played any game, was just overwhelmed myself with notifications and meters. I didn't even know all of the things that I was buying, but I sure did buy them. I sure did.
Right. Yeah, I assume you did not spend money, Andy.
No, I spent no money at all. I did not
I do
even
wanna
think
talk
about opening the shop.
Did you not
Wait.
pull at all?
No.
What?
Oh shit! Okay, you didn't even play the game.
Yeah, you didn't play the game. That is
The
unironically
roguelike part of it is just tacked on. The actual game is clicking the scout button and scouting for horses.
That was like my motivation. Like that, a lot of the joy that I got out of this was like, okay, my goal is not like exhaust all my meters. My goal is to see before we record this, and I very quickly excise this game from my life forever, how many of the special outfits I can unlock from the shitty characters. That was what I wanted to do.
I wanted to play as little
many
of the
points.
game as possible.
Well, you weren't. I mean, I'm not kidding when I say that like, for a gacha game, doing 0 pulls at all the whole time is the equivalent of like Chad not looking at the stats preview in Fire Emblem. Like that is that
They
category
give you,
of error.
they give you like an initial round of characters, so I picked one and then started a campaign with her and didn't finish it.
Well, yeah, because those characters suck ass, Andy, because they're terrible. You need to get
But
better
one,
characters.
One of them was named Vodka, though.
Yeah,
That
that
is
is
true.
Vodka's pretty
And so
nice,
I had
yeah.
to pick her, and she never lost a race.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, how did you not finish then?
I just didn't want to commit the time to playing more of the game than I had
This
to.
is why you hit skip X2 every time that you play
Exactly.
the game. The thing that I love about Vodka is that when you win a race on Vodka, she like drinks out of a flask,
Hell
and
yeah.
I'm like, wasn't there at some point growing up, it was like absolutely gauche to show somebody drinking alcohol in like a game. Like, you just didn't do it. Like, people never had that, especially in a game that was like, I presume this is like a teen-rated game.
No idea. No clue.
Yeah, and so it's crazy. But I assume that she isn't drinking alcohol because she is a horse and just finished a race, and you wouldn't want.
Yeah, silly chat.
Vodka.
That's a canteen.
Yeah.
Don't they just do milk? Isn't that the default one from the 90s? Is that it's all milk
Probably,
for some reason?
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of that.
Like
that is,
like in
but, yeah.
Zelda, it's Chateau Romani.
Do horses
Like
in
Majora's
real
Mask.
life drink anything other than water?
This is not a question that I have an answer to.
Yeah, probably
Nor
not.
will I ever have an answer to, honestly.
I mean, they're mammals, right? So, like, there's a period of time where they drink more than water, but, like,
That's true, yeah.
no one can, like, give a horse Fanta or something, is, like, what I'm...
If you lead a horse, you can lead a horse to Fanta, but you can't make him drink.
Yeah, if you give a horse a Fanta, he'll want a cookie to go with it.
Okay. So Andy did not complete even a single run, is what we are learning, which is
correct,
very
yeah.
understandable.
I
Chad,
put 40 hours into this
Yeah,
game.
like
Hell
so
yeah.
I noticed that on your Steam profile, and like it was just before I even touched the game. You had 34 hours in it, and I was like, "What are?" And I already made this joke to you, Chad. But I was like, "What are the odds this is actually Frog Fractions 3, and this is a prank on me?"
Well, in
get
your
me
defense,
to download like an inconspicuous, like weird game, and then it's actually something different buried within it. And
Well,
I was
this is
hoping
not-
that would be the case, but it wasn't.
I mean, how deep did you go? You didn't even complete one run.
I googled is Umamusume Frog Fractions 3, so I know that it isn't.
Damn. You're right. This was a prank on you a little bit, mostly because I was just so very curious to hear how you would, mostly your feelings. I want to know your feelings about the experience of attempting to play this game.
Do you want me to say them right now?
Yeah. Why would I want you to wait?
I
and
didn't know
withhold?
if that was like a, and then we'll find out through more conversation. I guess. I don't know. I don't really know how to feel about it. I feel like, on the one hand, just like mechanically, genre-wise, just the experience of interacting with the game on a mechanical level, this game is the opposite of everything that I like, basically. I don't like incremental games. I don't like gacha games. I don't like idle games. I don't really like mobile games. And on the other hand, like the anime horse stuff didn't really feel that weird or novel to me either. Like, I don't know. I feel like we live in a world where like a man married his DS because he played this game where you like romance a character on it. Like, and that happened like 15 years ago. Like, I don't know. An anime game where you date horses becomes really popular doesn't seem that weird to me either in 2025. So I was just kind of like clicking through a visual novel and then sitting there and watching horses run.
So, like, what did you think?
So that was kind of like my experience.
What did you think all of the buttons that were not the visual novel did? Because, like, you really do have to wade through a true, like, hedge maze.
Yeah. It is very, like, almost like Monster Hunter-y in that way. Where, like, when you first, like, go into it, it's just, like, all these buttons and all these menus and all these screens. And I actually think it has a fairly comprehensible tutorial. Like, I know I didn't understand, like, the full depth of, like, a lot of the interactions and, like, I'm sure there was plenty of optimizations I could have been making that I wasn't. But, like, I felt like I had a pretty good, like, baseline understanding of what I was doing. But I don't know. Like, it is very much like a style of design I don't mesh with very well. Like, I'll bounce off a lot of games. Like, I definitely could never have gotten into Monster Hunter if I wasn't friends with Chad.
True.
Because I would not have wanted to put forth the effort to, like, decipher the menus and stuff. So, but, like, yeah, I thought the tutorial on this felt comprehensive enough that I wasn't, like, intimidated by it, I don't think.
I feel like comprehensive enough is very, like, a useful way to phrase it. Like, the game is very good at getting you to the point where you can, like, just barely make you feel like you're making informed decisions. But, like, it is not possible without the internet to, like, go into the brass tacks optimization of this game in any conceivable way, which I think is itself, like, an interesting design trend that seems to be becoming more popular.
Yeah, I wish that it wouldn't, but the fact that it's to me, it's like this is a roguelike in name and is slightly in mechanics. It's weird to think about it that way for me, from my experience playing roguelike games. And part of roguelike design is a sort of obfuscation. You want the player to try new things.
Yeah.
But it feels like everything is so obfuscated that you don't really have a way of making decisions for hours of playing this game. Like, and even then, your inferences could just be wrong because they're based on things that are largely RNG driven.
Yep.
So, like, if I were to go into a race, so for a really long time playing this game, so there are skills, right? Mm-hmm. The basic horse racing mechanics. I will provide the most baseline rundown imaginable right now.
Uh-huh.
You have to run in races and place highly in order to proceed in the career. And the races themselves are simulations based on stats that all of the horses participating have. You raise those stats by doing trainings in the days leading up to the race. And you will encounter events, or you can race in sort of like sub races in order to obtain skill points, which you can then purchase, which will affect your horse during the race. The skills are worded in a laughably terrible way, where it'll say something like reduces fatigue, or then there will be another one that says, like, regain stamina. And they have the same icon, and the names don't mean fucking anything. And so I looked at those two things, and I said, I don't know which of these is better or the same. It does reducing fatigue mean that you lose stamina slower, which would be better over a long race.
Right.
or recover stamina, which would be good if you only needed stamina at the end of the race. And then I was like, but I have, even taking those skills multiple times over multiple runs, I have zero idea if the conclusions that I came to are correct.
Yes.
Because I'm just basing it on what happens during the race, and the skills cannot trigger. They could just not happen, which is dependent on another stat, the wit stat. Increases the odds of your skills proccing. So it felt very difficult to like naturally get a handle on, to the point where I was consulting guides on the internet constantly to even understand what anything was doing.
Okay. I 100% agree. And the way that was the kind of obfuscation that I was trying to speak to, is like exactly things like the skill wordings, right? Where you cannot know what is going on under the hood. Only lunatics on Reddit like know what is going in under the hood. But even though it is like insulting to my gamer DNA, I am going to try and like steel man this position anyway, because I think there is like an interesting like pseudo philosophical kind of slippery slope thing you can do with what they're doing here.
Okay.
So like, a lot of the games, right, like at like a D&D level of game math, right, it is in fact possible for all of us to translate all of the statistics into very determinable odds of success and failure on particular tasks, right? Like you can go under the hood with like a pencil and paper, even by yourself, to figure out exactly what all of these numbers mean and what all of them do. Agree?
I'm sorry. Are you talking about in this game, or are you literally saying in like a tabletop RPG?
I'm saying in literally Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that is like level 1 where the concept of a lot of these statistics kind of grew out from. And they kept growing with like the power of computers, right, over many decades, to the point where now we have something comparable to Dark Souls, right? Where like all of your characters have like very defined stats. All of those stats can in fact be input through calculations that are at least like visible to you somewhere, that would allow you to work backwards and figure out like, if I have this much strength, I will deal this much damage with a greatsword. But like the amount of math involved in doing that is so great that in practice nobody does that. And we all just consult guides, right?
Yeah, I would argue that Monster Hunter, because we already brought it up, is a great example of this. For me specifically, and it is a thing that I actually thought about in this context, where I was introduced to the idea of like what a motion value is through Monster Hunter. It's like different attacks having multiple like variables applied to them that are multiplicative of like total damage, and like you could do the math, but nobody would ever want to.
Right.
I do see what you're saying.
Yeah. And like my ultimate point here, like the third step in the argument, is that I think what the designers of Umamusume and games like it are doing, the reason why they just give the skills those to us unbelievably frustrating, vague descriptions, is because they think that players, because of the complexity going on under the hood, are already just going to consult the guides, right? And what they are just doing is removing the temptation and the stress to try and auto-calculate it yourself to make the experience smoother. They are like assuming you're already going to do the thing that you do for every other sufficiently complicated RPG.
Sure. I would argue... well, okay. I have to pose the question to you. Are you arguing that this is like... because the design is coherent, assuming that you won't be able to figure this stuff out yourself and have to go outside of it, that is an acceptable place to land on the design? Like, you think it is okay for that?
I think that's like a cultural difference. I think we were like raised before this switch really came into like full effect And right? Like, I know exactly how to calculate all of the relevant combat outcomes of two units interfacing from their stats in Fire Emblem, right?
Sure.
And there were like a lot of other RPGs at like 2-digit number levels of complexity that we all probably played where that was amenable. But like, I think the industry is like moving in other directions. And I think this is an example of them doing that. And even though I agree with you and do personally dislike it, like, I think a designer would be able to sit down with us and like make a coherent argument about why doing that is good.
I think that there's a linchpin failure in this logic. Not necessarily that this can't work, but that it specifically doesn't work with this game. And that is, both of you and the majority of people who play this game presumably Umamusume, are playing it on a phone, where it is immensely irritating to have to like minimize the app and open a web browser and then use terrible web pages to find or mobile based web pages to find like the information you're looking for. When I was playing it on PC, the game by default is in full screen, and I could just pull up a guide on the second monitor and consult it. Not that I actually did that. I feel like I guess it could have made it easier, but to me it felt like going too far. But I think the argument would be, go to a website, put in your support card so that you know what everything is, so you can choose the right option each time. But that felt like not playing the game to me. But I assume that for some people that is, and that's fine. But I feel like on a phone, that's like a bridge too far. Who's going to cross that bridge? On
only a phone, I agree with you. But I think you need to like live Moss a little bit, Chad. I think you need to embrace the multi-screen lifestyle. Because
I'm currently surrounded by 4 monitors.
This is what I mean, right? Is that like, yeah, you have the phone, but you also have like a billion monitors at home. You're like surrounded by devices, right? Like, I played this game on an iPad. Andy, what did you play it on?
I played it on a laptop plugged into a TV.
Cool, fun,
so, on a couch.
I love that experience. I'm curious how
many
one
of the few couch Umamusume players, probably.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, I mean, I obviously didn't know what I was getting into, so.
True, yeah.
But yeah.
I love that was made possible by the fact that you didn't know going in.
Oh, yeah,
Because like, you wouldn't have done it if you knew that it was primarily a mobile game.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah. That is just correct.
I like how you started to think that you would push back and like give Chad the time of day.
I misinterpreted what he was saying.
Uh-huh. I thought that Chad, because I never like conversed with you, Andy, directly in the construction of this episode. I just colluded with Chad about the hilarity of all three of us doing a gacha game, and then Chad came back to me and was like, "Andy said yes." I did not realize that meant that Chad tricked you into playing a gacha game.
I mean, he didn't trick me into it. He just said,
I told him the name of the game.
Yeah, and I immediately Googled it, and I was like, "Oh, an anime horse racing game." Haha. But yeah, I feel like Chad said something to the effect of like, JJ thinks it would be funny for us to do this as kind of a prank on you or something. Like, for some reason, I felt like it would be optimal to not look up anything about it.
That's what I said at the end of the previous episode. Yeah, I was like, it's kind of a prank on Andy to an extent.
All right.
So yeah. I could have looked up exactly what it was.
God. Chad.
Yes.
What was your team?
So that's a strange question. And I want to answer your question, but I do want to address a different part of it first.
Okay.
And that is specifically the gacha system. I don't have a lot to say, but I just want to talk about how much I think it is butt and cheeks.
Big old horse butt and cheeks.
Yeah, it's like horse cheeks for sure. So I think that there are elements of gacha that I understand. in terms of their design. There's a lot of visual and animation design put into it because the characters that you pull for have to be appealing.
Right.
I think that this game has some of that, potentially a lot of it. I'm not 100% sure because like the specific aesthetic that they go for in this is not really a thing that I have grown up with or lived with to any extent, so I don't know what is good and bad in the area. But it seems fine largely to me. But I think they made two weird choices that made me hate the gacha in this.
Okay.
And that was the 1 and 2 stars having special costumes but needing you to unlock the 3rd star to get them makes you like want to pull duplicates, which feels weird because that's you're supposed to get a constellation when you pull a duplicate.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be gunning for like 8 copies of a single character. That's the whale thing. And then also the fact that pulling for horses is generally worse than pulling for support cards is also weird because support cards are just supremely unexciting and boring to get.
They are, much more boring to actually pull for. I don't know enough about the meta of the game to know at what point pulling for characters is better than pulling for cards. Once I got to the point where I had like a full deck of 5 personal SSRs and then also used friend lists to like milk a 6 card into my runs. That was the point at which I just started throwing all gems at character pools because I wanted the nice outfits. So like, I'm sure there are in fact some cards that are better. And I've gotten a small window into this because I went looking into like the grungiest, strangest Discord servers I could find to try and see like, to the people who have been playing this game for years, how are they treating the meta of the English release of this game? And it was, of course, like Sisyphusian madness of a sort, but I learned much. I learned much from those delves.
That's fair. I know I can right now tell you the name of the card Kita-san Black because everybody just only talks about this card right now.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So hot.
I don't know if the banner for it is still up. But it is that is the card to get. But then there's also the whole system where you borrow things from other people, which means that you don't necessarily have to have whatever the hot pull is. And I don't know how accurate this is, but according to somebody on Reddit, getting a 5-star limit broken SSR card costs $2,000 or something, to guarantee it, which seems like, who would ever do that? Obviously, there are people who did it because I borrowed cards from those people.
Yep.
But it just feels like the amount required to spend to have a statistical advantage in the game is so astronomically high compared to the single other gacha game that I play that has a similar system, that I found it completely unfathomable that people would engage with it whatsoever. And then I guess the outfits were a motivating factor for you. You said it you wanted to get as many as you could for the characters who were under 3-star.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, but for me, I didn't really care. I thought it was weird that they made it so many of the characters just wore identical outfits because it seems like it would be very unexciting to pull. But I guess that isn't true for everyone, so that answers that question, I suppose.
Yeah, it's like why you start with the broken bronze dirt sword, right? It's so that you can replace it with the better sword.
But you wanted to upgrade the broken bronze dirt sword into the broken bronze dirt sword, polished, less chips, also wearing a skirt.
Look, I'm not going to get into the Ship of Theseus discussion here about how much of a dress makes one a woman, but Who knows? Okay.
Well, I mean, my
They're
point is, I
different
feel
things in
like
my
in
mind.
most games, you would have the bronze broken dirt sword, and
Yeah.
then you would put it into a hydraulic press that would turn it into a liquid that would then make a different sword better.
I am upgrading the equipment of the horsewomen. That was
Yeah.
right, if we want to be very specific about the appeal, so I wanted them to be prepared in their weird nonsense outfits, including the one who just has a knife, which I'm a big fan
Yeah,
of. Yeah.
Rice Shower just runs with a knife. That's so weird. I love it.
Is that
But
a
I don't know why
reference
she does.
to a real life thing?
I don't know.
That,
I hope
possibly.
so.
I don't know the history
does
of
that,
Rice
does
Shower.
that horse's jockey just race with a knife in his hand?
It's like a goblin.
There are only there are only two horses that I know any like substantial real life lore of. Gold Ship, the one everyone talks about, and never say this. Haru Urara? Is that something like that?
The one that lost so much
Yeah.
that people started to think that it had like a vibrant spirit.
Yeah, the unfathomable loser horse, and how they incorporated that into the campaign in a way that was extremely good. And
Yeah.
how now it is apparently like living out the rest of its years buried under a mountain of grass bought for it by fans of this game, which is very good.
Yeah. I know there are a few of them that I heard about. You joked that like it was like an irony pilled thing to like that element of the game. By far, it's my favorite part of the presentation is the fact that they took like a top-down approach to designing careers for the horses based on their real-world counterparts. Like one of the ones that I'm aware of, and I can't remember who it was. It may have been like Mihono Top Gun or something.
Yeah.
Was like a horse that came from a long line of horses that were good at long races. And so they ran them in a lot of long races, and then they lost those races. And then they realized, like, oh, maybe this horse is better at sprints at the shorter races. And that's how her campaign is set out. It's like a lot of medium and long races that you have to like just get by before her stats actually kick in the last half where you're only doing short races. And I love that. That's an attention to detail that I wasn't expecting and is very cool.
Yes.
Like, not unironically very cool to me.
The show has like also lots of like nonsense good attention to detail jokes like that. Like the one that's coming to me right now is the fact that all of the telephones in the setting are like substantially longer. Like if we imagine like a classic old person telephone, right? The part that goes between your ear and your mouth is just enormous, and thus all of the symbols that represent phones in the world are also enormous in the same ratio. So it's just they have symbols of like very long phones on telephone booths and stuff. It's also pretty good.
It is weird because, like, it's confirmed that in the world of Umamusume, there aren't actual horses. There are only horse girls. So the long phone doesn't actually really make any sense.
Unless humans are oppressed, which is clearly
Yeah,
implied.
well, yeah. I guess because their ears are up on the top of their head.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. I was imagining like a real horse using a phone.
And now I'm going to jump and backstab you here, and that I think that this exact conversation that we just fell into because of the bullshit that is this game is like also why there are so many like approximately normal people who are like sticking their foot in the water. Like I think the overwhelming popularity can in fact be explained by people who want to like talk about the stupid horse lore.
Yeah,
That's fair. But I do think that it's like you have to enjoy the game at the end of the day. At some point, you have to like the game. And I don't know how many people like sports management games. It's a lot more than I think it is, though.
Yeah. Yep.
Before we get too far away from the ears, like I think my favorite detail is that you can tell the gender of the real life horse by like their ear decoration. It's like the left one, I think, for male and right for female or whatever. That is a cool attention to detail. But maybe I'm like just getting too old. But like I just feel like in today's day and age, like that's not nearly interesting enough. Of like it's based on real life horses. Like I don't know. I feel like there's way weirder shit going on the internet all the time that it's kind of hard for me to believe somebody's going to think that sounds that amusing that they'll download and play the game just because of that.
I don't know, man. Do you spend like a lot of time on Tumblr? People really like running jokes into the ground.
I guess that's true.
I can show you a lot of weird jokes people made about the very specific horses from this game across years where they were forced into my life.
This is just evidence that not enough people have hobbies.
I mean, this is a hobby.
That's possibly
right. This is a hobby. This is a bad hobby, but like it is a hobby.
Yeah, well, this is like a bottom of the barrel hobby.
Yeah,
and I am talking about video games, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, to answer your question, I by team, I assume you mean like the PvP team.
Calling it even calling it PvP feels so dumb to me. I know technically is, but like asynchronous, like stats based, like I'll never know anything about the people who I'm racing again. It doesn't feel like PvP, right? You could just like assign random numbers to the enemy teams. But yeah, I want to know who you had up on the block. I want to know who your carry was. I want to know all your deets.
By far the best horses that I had were I had a vodka and a Taiki shuttle.
I don't even know Taiki shuttle. What is Taiki shuttle?
She's the American horse. She like dresses like a cowboy and is literally an American horse.
I don't know. I love that there's still
green
secrets to be found. Oh god.
Oh yeah, it's very funny. Her ult animation is great. She just like shoots a revolver into the air several times while striking stupid poses.
Good.
But yeah, it was those two were by far like the most successful runs that I had. But I really don't remember who else was on those, because I had like 3 slots and 2 of them were fully filled, and then the last one just had 1 person in it. And so it was just updating whenever I would finish runs, because I would just get better and better horses as time went on, because your legacies improve and then you learn about the friend mechanic, because you don't know it when you start the game.
Yep.
And you didn't borrow any legacies or any cards, and then all of your horses get way better and you start winning more runs.
Yep.
So like there's like a special week, a Taiki shuttle, Mihono Bourbon, who his career I still cannot finish. I tried her more than any other horse and she just could not finich a race. And by race, I mean the last race.
I wanted to prove you wrong on that so bad. I tried her 4 times and never succeeded. You're just fully right. She's doomed to be a C for me forever.
Yeah, she's fucking miserable. I got through, I think I played her like 6. I had like 6 careers with her or something. And I beat the career once and then lost in the finals. So they didn't have any hourglasses or fucking stopwatch, whatever, alarm clocks. There you go.
Whatever that specific one of the 4,000 currencies is. Sure.
Yeah. But eventually, but yeah, I couldn't take her to the finish, but she was still there. She lost very frequently. And then obviously I had Urara or whatever, because she's the only dirt horse that exists.
Yeah, the one dirt child. Yeah.
Yeah. But I had other like 3 stars. Like I had a Rice Shower, she was in that team, but her career is also fairly difficult. I think I beat it once. Fucking Special Week, I did really well the first time that I played her. Then I played her for the video that I'm putting up, and I lost after 4 races, because I think you just forget what you're doing when you're reading through hours of dialogue. And it becomes way harder to play the game.
Reasonable.
Yeah. So that's kind of my team. I don't know if I had like a favorite horse or anything, but
got it. I very firmly had a favorite horse. Very firmly.
Yeah, well, if it was Symbolic Rudolph, I did not pull her.
No, she's the best horse at the game, but that made her boring because she is very boring.
Okay.
I instead managed to upgrade El Condor Pasa, the insane Mexican horse.
Well, that is a 2-star horse. I actually don't know if I ever pulled her.
Yeah, sad. She gets a falcon at some point and weird outfits. She's really excellent campaign. It's mostly about her being a lunatic and making her friends laugh. And that one got to me. I liked the insane luchador horse.
I wouldn't have, because I wouldn't have read any of the dialogue.
That is fair. That is fair. I read, like I said before, about half the dialogue, but there was very quickly a point where I never wanted to read any of it ever again. I reached that point very fast. Yeah. Because they all really kind of want the same thing. It's not really like, there's not a whole lot of narrative twists and turns. It's mostly like, hey, I want to be fast.
And win races. Yeah, those are their sort of prime directives. Oh, so here's the thing we didn't notice we didn't mention. But we may not have noticed. I'm not sure. You'll have to tell me. That leads into I think the last thing that I have that I want to talk about specifically, and I'll leave the table open for you guys if you have anything else. I feel like there are a number of things that you can do in world building centered around a single element. And this one went one too far, because I can accept Academy of Horse Girls. That's not too bad. Why are they also J-pop idols? Like, what purpose does this serve just within the world of the game?
This is the step that I cannot defend. This is the step that I could never understand. I just really hate idol culture just very deeply. And have no good or happy
I
things
too
to
have
say
seen the
about it.
movie Perfect Blue.
I don't get why people want that. I've never met anyone. Oh, I've met one person who has talked about enjoying the stupid concerts in a way that wasn't any percentage not ironic. But yeah, I think
it's just a cultural difference, I think.
Yeah.
I just feel like it doesn't really add anything to what the game sets out to do. Except, and this is my last point, it does introduce a reason to have absolute bang-in music. Because the music in this game fucking rips from the beginning. I loved 99% of tracks that I heard.
Hell yeah.
I think the archive music is perfect in almost a rareware style way. I would believe that Grant Kirkhope wrote that song if somebody presented it to me free of any context. All of music that's upbeat is really good. There were 2 of the Idol songs that I didn't really jive with, and then obviously there's the Bakshin song, which is just a meme to annoy you.
Yep.
In which case I do think it's successful because its purpose is obviously to annoy you, and it did annoy me.
Love that. Love that for you.
So yeah,
so happy that you love the music.
I kind of liked the concerts only because the music was really good most of the time.
Good job. As you know, I'm a music insane person, so I have no opinions on the matter.
Yeah, I really didn't even think about it as out of place. I feel like that's such an anime thing.
Oh, that the music is
they do some kind of J-pop style thing. There's a little dance the characters do, and then people do it on now TikTok, but it would have been YouTube formerly, back in the day. Yeah.
But you're right. I can in my head on command pull just many songs, even though it has been some time since I have touched this. They're all up there now, and that's concerning.
The title theme has been in my head pretty much for the last 4 weeks.
Yep.
And every time that I leave the house, I'm whistling it as I walk down the stairs. It's just become a habit. Yep. I don't know. The music is exceedingly good I don't know. I mean, if that was they obviously have more development time to spend on stuff like that because the majority of the game is... Well, okay, they've spent a lot of time on writing words no one will read, and music, because a lot of the rest of the game is just like stats based and is very interchangeable. So I can't imagine new content is super hard to produce. So they have a lot of extra manpower to put into churning out bangers.
Extra horsepower?
Sorry, they do have extra horsepower. You're right, and I'm a fool for not saying it.
Yep.
I had to contribute something to the episode. Have they ever done a BoJack Horseman crossover?
I think that show has been over for many years, unfortunately. Very sad to report.
They would... He at least, I think, aesthetically would fit well within the game. That's not true.
He's
That's
who you're playing as. He's the creepy uncle figure.
He's the trainer.
Who is training all the teens.
Now, the video I'm going to put up with this has a very embarrassing moment where I realize that there are two characters, one of which is like another trainer at the academy, and the other one is like a journalist.
Right.
Oh,
And
no.
I had played the game for 30 some hours up until that point and didn't know that they were different people.
Yep.
Just, they thought they were the same the whole way through.
I'm glad that you thought that there was one student who just likes to go out in a business suit sometimes. That's cool.
Have you seen the different outfits that they put all the horses in?
I have, and they all have like going outfits too that are much more rarely seen.
Some people would put a suit on.
I agree. Yeah. It's not unbelievable. I could see how you were fooled and beguiled.
The thing I was okay, so I had a thing coming into this
Okay.
that I was gonna use, but after the conversation about wanting to fuck the horses, I now feel like it's inappropriate potentially, but I'm gonna use it, I guess, and you can veto it if it's bad.
Uh-huh.
Do we have final spurt thoughts?
I say
Wow.
keep it in.
Wow. Sorry, that took me. I did think of a dick first. I need to be honest about that. but I did eventually get to where you were trying to take me. It was successful, even if it was a bit of a rocky road.
So my final spurt thoughts. So yeah, this game is not since we talked about. Oh god, what's the third person real-time strategy game, Chad, that we did for Mystery
Was it
May?
Sacrifice?
Yes.
Not for February.
Yeah, for February. Not since Sacrifice have we played a game so far out of my wheelhouse. Yeah, it's like pretty much the exact opposite of anything I would normally choose to play. Yeah, like I'm not like I like anime, but I'm not like somebody who watches a ton of it, so I'd never heard of the show. Apparently this game was like hotly anticipated, like the worldwide release, because the Japanese version came out like 4 years ago. Just never heard of it. I'm not somebody who enjoys idle games or gacha games or incremental games or anything like that. So yeah, I guess the thing that like connected with in the game was basically just like the visual novel element. Like and it's just kind of basic scenarios to interact with characters in. So that's about all it was doing for me. Yeah, I struggled to come. Took notes before this. Struggled to come up with 4 things to write down. Yeah,
That's outstanding.
That's those are my. I liked vodka. That was the horse that I used. Because I thought that was the coolest name of all the horses that came up at the beginning. And I played about 6 hours and clicked through some dialogue and watched some horses run around.
Glad you had a good afternoon.
Those are my final spurt thoughts.
Why do you
Hell
keep
yeah.
saying it?
My final spur thoughts. I normally don't, but because you brought it up, I'll say it again. I think that this game is probably a game for people who are not me. Largely, I think that there's a lot of stuff, but there was a period where I felt engrossed. There was a short time, and I think it is because I just like roguelikes, and there was an element of like the dealing with the random chance and like learning that stuff. Once I learned how the mechanics of the game actually worked, I was significantly less engaged with it because I felt more cheated by certain things and more angry about how much money they would want me to spend to get like functional support cards. So I think that's where it broke down for me. I feel like this is, to me, and maybe not to everybody, feels like a weird genre to include gacha elements in, and for the gacha to be as expensive as it is in this game. And maybe it's similar to other games, but the ones that I've played, generally speaking, I never spent money in one of them and spend very little in another, and feel like I have way more general clout in those games than I do in this one after a similar amount of time. So it didn't hit really on most angles for me, but like the music and some of the presentation elements I thought were really good. And I don't know, that's kind of where I'm at with it. I just feel like this is not offering enough. Especially if you like skip all the dialogue and the races, because the races do sometimes make it exciting.
Yeah.
But I feel like it takes so long to get through that it isn't worth trying to scrounge the enjoyment out of the slower elements, which then also means that it's probably not worth playing the game anymore, which was the conclusion that I arrived at and stopped playing.
Yep. So my final spurt thoughts are pretty much the exact opposite of Andy, who struggled to have any feelings whatsoever about this alien thing that entered his life. This instead, I think, has triggered like a minor existential crisis in me, like not in me personally, but in my like understanding of human culture a little bit. It's like trying to go outside myself enough to learn what this is and why it evokes feelings in people. And the conclusion that I have come to after wandering through that wilderness is that, like, if you're super into this game, I really want you to think very hard about what you are hoping to get out of it. Like, I want you, not just in this game, but like in all media that you engage with in your life, to go into that experience expecting something. You might not, right, like know exactly what you're going to get out of any, like movie that you go and watch and see. How could you? But like, I think we need to normalize, like, having standards about the things that we do. I think there is a category.
Well, you're agreeing with me on this.
Yes, in part. But the sympathy comes in about like the fact that it's free. Like, if like we are coming from a place where we are competing what this game offers against like the Bloodborns and the Shadow of the Colossuses of the world, right? And like there is absolutely a category of people who do not have enough money to fill their time with experiences like that. And like I want to be sensitive to that very depressed person that this game is like very pointedly trying to prey on. And I want you to remember that like books also exist. Like you can at any given time in your life you can definitely put this down and like go instead look up a book about anything you want, any topic. You'll find it for free. You could probably steal it, but like the opportunity cost of playing this, just given how much time it wants from you, is so unbelievably high. And you can get so much more out of your life than like the little bits of joy and comedy that this game is kind of like scraping off the floor to offer you. And I don't know. I think you should care about yourself more than this game cares about you.
I mean, you could say that about like any gacha, really.
Yeah, really. Like this is like a conclusion that I have reached way beyond Umamusume. Like this is part of the reason why I'm like getting out of Magic the Gathering, is like the experience of playing this game and like making me think about it very hard.
Yeah. I do think it's interesting to think about the fact that like we do this podcast and we talk about like a different game. But we do a lot of stupid theme months. I will catch myself before I say that we don't do anything to categorize them, because we absolutely do. That we have several episodes on games about monkeys, but like there isn't it's not like, very rarely are we like, oh, well, this game was cheap versus this game was expensive. We do talk about those things on occasion, but very frequently we kind of mash everything together.
Yeah, we specifically tried to avoid talking about that.
Yeah. Unless there's like, it's like a point of like contention, something that actually is interesting about it. And it is true that like a lot of people would play this game because it's a free game. It's free to download, but it is trying to get your money in order to justify its existence being free.
Right.
Which is something that maybe we should examine societally about, like, what is it? Are you just loading your game with Skinner boxes? In which case the read a book option is probably better. Thank you for listening to NOCLIP this week.
What are we talking about next time?
Next time, we're going to be talking about Balatro, the poker roguelike that I have, according to Steam, spent over 300 hours in, apparently, which is distressing. But until that time, you can get a hold of us. All of our contact information is on our website at noclippodcast.com. Or on splattershot.pro, where you can find links to our email address, our Twitter account, the Discord, where you can talk about the games that we've talked about, or suggest games for us to talk about in the future. Or you can find our YouTube channel and listen to any of our old episodes. And this is where we run into that thing where we're like, horse racing, gacha games, visual novels, kinda. What have we done like this?
999 Danganronpa.
We did do those games. Yeah,
close enough.
Yeah, that's good. Persona 5 just released a gacha game this year.
Oh no.
Indeed. I've heard not good things about it. Let us know in the comments. How do you feel about Persona X? Fucking race with each other to the comment section.
That's right, we're commenting with a friend today. Everyone get one hand on the keyboard.
Spend $21 for a guaranteed SSR like on the video.
Give us $7 and I will send you 50 gems in the mail every day for 30
days. Give us $7 and I'll send you that book so that you can read instead.
You can read instead of playing this game. Goodbye.
Bye. I forgot about school and the times that it would play The Grinch.